Hello, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience of doing a bootcamp in data engineering, and I did this bootcamp through QA Ltd. So I want to be able to just talk to you in terms of what my bootcamp experience was like, and hopefully it can help you in your decision of what kind of data bootcamp you want to do and in terms of what to expect. So I actually completed my bootcamp last month, and it was a 10-week bootcamp. So it's really interesting because with QA, this data engineering bootcamp used to be 12 weeks, but it's been put down into 10 weeks just so that it could get done sooner, which I'm appreciative of because I've completed it now and I'm moving on. But also I was speaking with the recruiter on the phone at the time, and she did tell me that they've actually started to introduce the use of data engineering. They brought in data engineering bootcamp because what they actually realized is that there was an increasing demand for data engineers. I guess I could make another video in terms of my experience of job hunting, but I'd say there's definitely the demand of data engineers, not so much graduates, but a lot of the things you learn in data engineering is what you do as a data analyst, which is the career I'm basically going towards, coming out of my data engineering bootcamp. So this bootcamp, again, 10 weeks, and it's home working. So what you do is you're at home. At first I'm thinking, oh, how's this gonna work? Because it's not in the classroom, you're not gonna have someone to talk with, so it's a bit like and it's very, very intense to learn this whole topic in 10 weeks. I've come from a marketing background, so I was actually having a career change. So if you're in my shoes, I can rest you assured you're gonna learn a lot. So don't be afraid about that. But it's 10 weeks is a lot of things to cover. So what you have to do is definitely keep up with your self-learning. But if you keep up with your self-learning, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. You'd only struggle if you just come in and don't do any learning at all. But if you do learning, honestly, you're going to walk away with so much knowledge. Like, a lot. I feel like I've grown since finishing my bootcamp. So what are the kind of things that they teach you in this bootcamp? So a variety of things. One thing I was so surprised of is just how much they have to teach you. So they cover things from the IT infrastructure. This is what we began with, and I actually have an appreciation for that. So it's just in terms of looking at operating systems, looking at the cloud, looking at the use of security, and also just looking at like the components of computers and CPUs, etc. And the network. It's just great. It's great. I found I was appreciative of this because coming from a marketing background into a data, predominantly data, it's just good to have a basic understanding of IT, and you'll see that it really kind of plays into your knowledge later on, in terms of just carrying out your role, be it as a data engineer, data analyst, or maybe you want to go into become a data scientist, etc. It's just so important to just know the underlying of IT infrastructures. So they begin with that. And another thing that surprised me is they offer you a certificate in Microsoft Azure Fundamentals. So this is the cloud. So you're going to be learning about using Microsoft Azure Cloud, and you're going to have an exam and you're going to have a certificate. So this was halfway through my bootcamp. So this was like around week 4, week 5, I can't remember from the top of my head, but it was like one of those two that you actually go and sit your exam. And I never seemed scary because it's like I have all this to learn in 10 weeks, so then I have an exam to do on halfway through those weeks, and I have that to prepare for. I tell you, they prepare you. I was scared, but they really do prepare you, and they have this portal You can go online, that has all this online training, not even just for the Microsoft Azure, but in just any other topic, which I'm grateful for, which I'm going to still go away. I finished my bootcamp. I'm probably going to go back to that portal and still do other training on there, because you can have certificates and other things too. You have access to that for a whole year when you finish from your bootcamp. So you get your Microsoft Azure certificate, which is great. Other things as well, they teach you Git Bash and GitHub. You get introduced into that, and also in terms of working with repositories. So that's just in terms of just a place for storing your code, and then how to, you know, clone it, things like that. So you basically learn Git Bash, GitHub, things like that, which is great. So there's a nice introduction into learning it, and throughout your journey in the bootcamp you will be referring back to using GitHub, which is great, especially for storing code you have practiced in the bootcamp, just to hold it there. And it's just great. And as well, for employers to be able to look at your GitHub account, to see what kind of code you've been working with and practicing, which is just going to be things from your bootcamp that you can just put on there to show off to employers in the future. If you're wondering how you show that off, it's just getting your GitHub account link and just putting it in your CV. It's as simple as that, really. So great opportunity with building up, you know, your own self-work that you're doing. Other things they teach you is team models. So this in terms of looking at DevOps, and they also teach you the continuous integration pipeline. So, you know, from the start to finish of creating your code to deploying your code. So they really kind of just teach you these models, which is really great in terms of just, you know, work building. Great again for your CV in terms of your knowledge, in terms of working as a team and your role in a team, which is absolutely brilliant. And they also teach you different tools as well, and I can talk about all of them and go on, but I'll just bring up one of them. So one of them is the use of Power BI. So you know how I said data engineering and data analyst interlap? Well, this is one of them, the use of the Power BI, and basically just creating schemas as well. So star schemas or snowflake schemas. So this is just the use of your data, inputting it. You'll learn all of this. I didn't know what any of this was before I went into my bootcamp. I promise you, going into your bootcamp, you will understand what these are. And yeah, so Power BI, I can give you an explanation of that. That is a tool used to basically visualize your data. So it's a part of your pipeline, and you can even do other things such as cleaning, structuring your data on there, transforming it, creating your schema, and then visualizing the data that you've created, that you've put together. And that's in terms of just having like bar charts, or you know, creating like league tables, whatever it is that shows off your data visually in graphs that you can then basically take over to a, you know, the other part of your business who needed that information for the business insight decisions. So yeah, that's one of the tools of many that they teach you. But then you also go into programming languages, and to be honest, I wanted to go onto this bootcamp learning programming languages, so I was really excited when we finally got onto the part. And the two languages that they teach you is Python and SQL. And Python is the biggest language to learn because there's so much to it, that we had to dedicate a whole week of the boot camp with just learning Python. Yeah, so an SQL was taught for over 2 days. What they do, they give you exercises to do as you learn the code, so you're able to just code things out yourself. They could even give you problem statements, so they give you a scenario and then you have to code, you have to program the answer to solve the problem or to get the data that you need. So they do give you you know, practical work to use and scenarios to learn it, because it takes time to learn programming languages. So it just comes back to, again, you need to be active in your self-learning, because you're not just going to learn it only from the bootcamp. It takes time to learn, and one thing I've learned myself from meeting other people in the industry with years of experience, you know, they're still learning Python. And you know, one person, she's like to me, you know, you're not going to learn everything now, you know, you have to continue just learning it, and it will all just grow and grow and grow. Your knowledge will continuously grow, and that's something that's really important for you to remember, not be discouraged. So always just continue with self-learning, find the time whenever you can. So apart from that, they also provide you with CV support. So they have recruiters there who can help you with your CV. So I had one-to-one sessions with one of the recruiters. He helped me go through my CV. He helped me go through my LinkedIn. And then I was able to show him what kind of work I had and what changes I needed to do. And I can honestly say I felt like my CV was improved because I did have really good pointers. So always take advantage of any help with your CV. We also have soft training, so we had 3 days in terms of working on our CV, in terms of what we could put in there for soft skills, so not just technical skills, so soft skills such as, you know, time management, organizations, or other skills that you're bringing in from your career. So for me, coming from my marketing background, you know, just in terms of other skills, you know, just I've worked with data. I've never actually had to create the pipeline, but I could at least value, you know, the importance that data has, and I just demonstrating that in my CV, just picking out relevant things, or even just hobbies. Learning to play the guitar, that's a skill of coordination, and even self-motivation. That is something for you to put in your CV, that you're motivated to always continually learn, and, you know, and it, you know, maybe scientifically, I'm not going to say scientifically because I haven't checked my facts, but I'm guessing learning to play the guitar, it improves, you know, you being able to pick things up quicker because you're improving a part of your brain. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. My opinion. But yeah, we also had a week of talks as well. So we had other people coming in from companies to give us talks in terms of working for them and what roles they had, the opportunities they had available. So we had someone from House of Razor, for example, come in. So it's actually really big companies of people coming in to come and talk to you, which is absolutely brilliant and great. So definitely take advantage of all these things that are happening. That's an advice I have for you. Just be as engaged as possible in your bootcamp, from taking part to even asking questions. Don't feel afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a silly question. The amount of time I've asked questions that I wasn't even quite sure of because I was just new, coming from my marketing background. Honestly, I was glad I asked these questions because I walked away knowing them, and maybe I'll look back now and think, oh, like, duh. But I didn't know then, and I didn't know until I asked. So always ask the questions. Don't be afraid, because you're all there to learn together, and it's great to even... I appreciate other people's questions because then they ask good questions, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad they asked that. So, you know, questions you may ask, someone else secretly loves your question the way I've secretly loved other people's. So just don't be afraid to ask questions. Also, because it's going to be working from home, just make sure you have good internet connection. Make sure you've tested out they're going to give you a video link because we've done it through the video call Webex. Just make sure you test that it's all working fine before your start date, just to prevent any problems. Make sure it's a nice quiet environment, not too noisy. If it is too noisy, keep yourself on mute or get yourself headphones. But yeah, just have those little preparations in place. So that is my experience doing my 10-week bootcamp, and I really hope it helps you in deciding whether or not you want to stick with QA and do data engineering bootcamp like me, or you want to go off and do a different bootcamp. But yes, it can be intense. It was Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. We had lucky days of finishing at 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock, which were great. But just be prepared to just kind of just self-learn at the end. But I promise you, if you stick it through, you're going to be walking away with so much knowledge. And honestly, if you do it, it's something to be proud of. So if you get through this, I'm proud of you. So I hope this was really helpful. And let me know if you have any more questions about it. I'm always happy to help out and answer. Okay, thank you for watching and listening.